Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Varsha.
And I am Dr. Richa. We are from Patna Dental College, first year postgraduate students.
So today we'll be demonstrating the alternate technique of denture flasking. Enjoy. This is the cast that we chose for this video. As we can see, it has a really good arch and it has been very nicely beaded and boxed. We have completed the teeth arrangement, the wax up and the carving and the final finishing of the trial denture. All we need to do now is to invest this. So we did keep the carving a little bit on the exaggerated side to cover up for any burnishing that might occur during the finishing and polishing of the denture. As you can see, the thickness of this shellac base looks quite adequate for a denture, and we did not see any need to add wax on the palatal region of the shellac base. Here we have taken about 1:2 ratio of dental stone and plaster for investing the trial denture prior to dewaxing. Make sure we have a good seal. So we have flasked the cast to the drag part and tried to keep the occlusal plane as parallel as possible. We have avoided undercuts and removed any excess that was present. Now we need to apply separating media liberally using a stiff bristle brush. We should also take care, obviously, not to let it clump or form any kind of voids or bubbles. We are making it a very nice uniform layer. We are applying a dual coat here. As you can see, the coat is uniform and without any clumps or bubbles. And now it has all dried and we can go ahead with the next step. We will now apply the layer of putty. Here we have used adhesion silicone. A little more than half a scoop will be enough for a cast of this size. Knead the putty conventionally into a very uniform mix. From all the trial and error that we have done so far, we have found that applying the putty from one side of the trial denture and pushing it along as you go to the other side prevents folds and irregularity. There are a lot of videos which show making putty into one single roll and pressing it along the surface of the teeth, but then we have found out that this creates more folds within the putty that is facing the teeth surfaces, which would eventually create, of course, the fins and wings on the denture. So we don't want that. So this is what we have found more effective than the other. Make sure to place indentations on the putty for the plaster retention before it sets. And keep the putty about 1 to 1.5 mm below the incisal and the occlusal aspect of the teeth. Now we will be finishing the flasking in the conventional way. Again, make sure the flask fits passively and there are no excess anywhere on the flask rims. We have again taken 1:2 ratio of dental stone and plaster for the flasking, and since we have already applied separating media prior to the application of putty, we won't be applying again. Now we have completed the dewaxing. You can see how neat the cast looks and how neat the putty looks, and the edges between the putty and the stone, it merges very well. It's extremely satisfying to see something like this. We continue the rest of the steps in a conventional way. So we start by applying separating media again, liberally. Again we did a dual coat here. Any cold mold seal that gets on the putty or on the teeth surfaces can be wiped off with a small cotton tip. Bench cure for at least an hour and cure the denture according to manufacturer's recommendation. And this is how it looks after curing. The biggest advantage of this technique is the very easy retrieval of the dentures, and it is extremely satisfying. You can see how nicely it came out. There was no breaking needed, nothing. It just popped out of the mold. This also reduces our finishing and polishing time for the final denture. And of course, any effort that we had put into our initial wax up and carving is very well preserved, as we can see here. We would like to point out at this juncture that this technique is not as expensive as it looks. The procedure itself is fairly simple, and it would not take more than 1 to 1.5 scoops for both upper and lower complete dentures. Considering the advantages this technique has over the conventional one and the cost effectiveness, we feel that this technique can be efficiently applied in our labs. We hope that this video was clear and informative to one and all. Thank you.